Okay, we resume Reishis Chochma, Shar Hayira. Uh, we're talking about the name Yud K Vav K. So yesterday last session, we discussed, why the term Gadol applies to the name Yud K Vav K, and now we're going to discuss another angle. Now we find also in the scriptures, right? Right, that the name Yudke Vavke was also had attributed to it governance, reign, being the ruler. So for was an example. If we have Mashal of Shalom, like take a look in the words of Tehillim, right? Kila Hashem, ki Yudke Vavke Hamlucha. Melucha belongs to Yudke Vavke. Umosh he's the one who governs the goyim. Chaim b'divrei Yomim, and also in the divrei Yomim, l'cha havaya hagdul l'cha havaya hamamlocha v'amizaskorosh. So the name Yud Kei Vav Kei has the mamlocha, and it it is above anything, above any high level. And also va'ata, even though it's not mentioning the name Havaya per se, but we know that that's, as it were, the real name of God. Everything else is a nickname. So va'ata machayes kula. Vashkov necha va'ata moshe v'kol. Wealth and honor is in front of you, and you. And so you, God per se, which we know is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, reigns overall. So now let's go back to something that should bother any thinking person. We know that, especially as we know that all the Esther spheres are in unity, right? Are perfectly unified. The differences between them is only by our perception, by what energies filter down to our perception, and by our perception there are differences, right, which are mitzad the kalim of the spheres that control what filters to our perception. All right, so now Hashem Hagedula V'Gevura V'Tiferet Netzahod Kichol Hashmayim V'Aretz. That's 6 out of the 7 lower spheres that that administer the world. All right, the top 3 are the plan. Right, this is but L'Chashem HaMamlacha. There's separate Shem Havaya for the Midah of Malchus. Right? L'Chashem HaMamlacha. Right, so why is that? Why is there a separate pasuk of L'Cha Hashem HaMamlacha, a separate name Yud Kei Vav Kei for Malchus? Okay, so it's a question that should bother any, not all 6 meters on top of it all get the same L'Cha Havaya, and then L'Cha Havaya Mamlacha. Why? All right, so the Zohar deals with this. So it actually goes back to the Zohar. The explanation lays in the Zohar that we mentioned earlier in Ois Yud Zayin, if you're using this edition. Ki Havaya hu chiyus pinimin ha'shvaz v'chol olam, as ki ha'shvaz v'chol guf, shel kol pamim meno. Right, that over there the Zohar said, the Zohar taught us in its language that the name Yud Kei Vav Kei is the inner life force that spreads throughout all the worlds, and it's it is to reality like a neshama is to the body, that spreads everywhere. Shem makom panu mimenu, there's no place void of it; it's everywhere. Ken Havaya Shaklunos also Yud Kei Vav Kei is another Zohar that he's referring to. Right, it's like the Shakud Ilon, it's like the sap in the tree. The sap in the tree is everywhere in the tree, in all the different branches. That's the lesson in the Tikkunei Zohar and the Maimer Elio. So now this is, so he's not quoting the Zohar per se to answer this, but my understanding is he's constructing an answer based on these Zohars that we just said, that we just repeated, because it was these ideas were mentioned earlier. Now it's just Zachaslo, right? This also the kingship, the kingdom, the power of being of governance that we attribute to God. Says, so just like The neshama gives a person the chochma, the bina, and the mada, and the koach, and all the other midas, right? Therefore, which are the ikar ikar capacity of a person to govern. He has to think what he does. He has to understand the consequences. He has to have come with a thorough plan. He has to also implement the plan. Right, that's the other midas. Right, and it's the neshama is the life force that cause all that governance. All these things, the Chochma, Bina, and Das, and the Midas, were all, activated by the neshama. Cain, Sol Shema Vaya, Moshe Lifokabils is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei that really is the true ruler that is Poil in all the pulas. So Yimeno HaKol, and for him it's everything. Idea Asiyas Hamyachar HaKol Nikrabo, and it's through the, of course, it all goes back to the cause of all causes. Shem Havaya is the Hashgacha, and God is the cause of all causes we never even talk about. Right? I'm Yaakov Vanik Shabo, and he's one who unifies everything, and it's all tied together. So the way he is learning is the Hashem Mamlacha is not going on the Midah of Malchus per se, right? But he's saying it's going on, the Shem Havaya. The Shem Havaya, is what's being singled over here is repeating that you, the name Havaya, are the real king, right? So he's learning his first pshat. He's going to say another pshat now, but his first pshat and why it's L'cha Hashem HaMamlacha is referring to the Shem Havaya. You Havaya are the real king. You Havaya are the real king, because you make all these other spheres work, right? And I guess it's being said together with the Midah of Malchus. And there's the Midah of Malchus, but you Havaya, the real king, that makes all of the above work, not just the Midah of Malchus. Okay, that's his first shot. Excuse me a second. Well, we find also that we find the Shem Havaya, connected to the idea of rulership, reigning, governance in another way. This is also in the words of the of David HaMelech in Tehillim when he says, Hashem, Malach, bless Hashem's angels, Giborei Koach, the mighty ones of the mighty ones of power. Osei Dvar, that do His word. They hear the sound of His word. Hashem, Kol Tzvav, Meshal Osei. Bless Hashem, all His multitudes, His servants that do His will. Baruch Hashem, Kol Maasav. Bless Hashem, all His creations. In all the places that He reigns. In all the places that He reigns. Right? What does it mean in all the places that He reigns? All the places that He reigns. What does that mean? The whole existence is just His malchus, all the places that He reigns. He reigns everywhere. No. All of existence is His malchus, like we've explained a few times. I'm just reinforcing the question. Right, so in order to understand, there was a mean. In order to explain what it means in all the places rain, so we have to actually now backtrack and explain all these three psukim that we just quoted. All right, Barosho. So the truth is, in what we said earlier, we mentioned, right? We mentioned that every angel somehow has the name Yud Kei Vav Kei encoded in it. The name Yud Kei Vav Kei is everywhere. Va'amar, and on that the Zohar said after positing that point, Valda Islay the Parash Lamlocha Avaya B'chol Sriyon B'chol Korsan Chol Malachin. We quoted the Zohar before. Zohar says, and therefore, since the Shem Havaya is everywhere, therefore a man must coronate. Be mamlich, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei in every sphere and every throne, because every world has its own bechina of Kisei HaKavod, and in all the angels. Nimtza, so it comes out Shabolim HaKisei HaVaya Kamoshu Batzilus, right? V'chein bolam hamlachim, v'chein ba'asiyah, v'chol eivod ha'rosh. So he's one saying that, but not only is there epis havaya everywhere, but havaya is equally everywhere. Look what he's saying over here. The Shem havaya in a hidden way is equally everywhere, because even in the Kisei HaKavod, the name havaya is there. The Kisei HaKavod per se, I think we'll go Kisei HaKavod per se is Olam Habriya. It's there equally as is in the Olam HaAtzilus. And Chochma Malachim, which is Yetzira, its Shem Havaya is equally there also. Chaim Ba'asiyah, and also in Yolam Asiyah, which is the world that contains within it, the universe as we know it. And also, even in every organ in a person, Shem Havaya is everywhere equally. This is hidden from our perception, right? But it is. We believe the Shem Havaya, the essence of the Hashgacha, is everywhere equally. In a hidden way. It's in the revealed level of the Hashgacha that there are Chiluke Madregas, just like it's only in the revealed by our perception. There's Chiluke Midas. It's really all Havaya everywhere, but that is the essence of the Hashgacha. It's all everywhere equally, but the differences are all by our perception. But in the pneumius of it, in the depth of it, the way things really are, the Shem Havaya is everywhere equally, right? All right, so now let's just try to break down what it means, at least, because the Zohar gave us a job. It said to coronate HaKadosh Baruch Hu on every organ and organ, right arm, Havaya, left arm, Havaya. How so? Right? So to explain that, as is his way, he answers Zohars and explains Zohars by bringing in more Zohars. Now, how to find the Shem Havaya in every organ and organ. After Kamash Pirshu Batikur, maybe it might suggest that maybe it could be understood in light of what it says in the Tikkun Zohar, Tikkun Gimel, right? Shekol Ever Yeshpo Arbi. So listen, every organ is made up of the four basic elements, which by those four basic elements are not just in the sense of the Aristotelian, ancient chemistry. But we're taught that these four elements exist ruchnius wise. They are spiritual forces. They're spiritual forces, and they are parallel to the four letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Right. So first of all, in every organ, listen. How could I seriously say Yud Kei Vav Kei on my right arm? Well, the right arm is made up of this spiritual energy called earth, the spiritual energy called water, the spiritual energy called air, and the spiritual energy called fire, right? Which are parallel to the four letters of the divine name, right? It's one way. And now that's one way. I could look at a Shem Havaya because I look at my arm and I see its elements, and I see its elements that are connected to Isis of the Shem Havaya. But then that's one way. Then there's another way. Every organ is made out of flesh, sinews like veins, and bones, so flesh, muscle, sinews, and bones. Right, that so the Zohar explains over there on bones, flesh, and sinews. So there's bracha, kedusha, and yichud that unites the bracha and kedusha. Vela shosha noda shem sod yud hey vav. And as well known, these three elements, bracha, kedusha, and the unity between them are connected, the yud and the hey and the vav. Right, I do believe I can't. I don't have the Zohar in front of me. Now, maybe let's let him talk, because maybe so instead of me guessing, some things will just become plainly obvious as we read through the Zohar, because he's about to bring, bring more Zohars in, right? Right. So, says bracha, kedusha, and yichud connected yud, hey, and vav. I don't want to bother speculating which is connected to what, even though I have my theory on it, because I don't know if I don't think the details are important, but there's also more details to come in the Czar's that he's about to bring in. And further, the Czar explains mashcha, skin, iud adam malchus, skin, which is the dmus adam, as opposed to the I stand dmus, as opposed to tselem. Right, the dmus adam, it is connected malchus, which is the final hey of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. So that fits well because basar, etzem basar vegidim is the Yud Hey Vav, and the skin, right? The skin, the mashcha is the final hey. Malchus, called Yuknin Chazave, it's Malchus, which all forms actually appear in it. Basically, everything takes its form in the skin. The skin will stretch to and take on the form of the stuff that it's covering over. But it's a very deep point. I do believe we've explained this in one of our forums, that all form, called diukin, any type of form, that happens in Malchus. That's one of the pulas of Malchus, to give form, because all the divine attributes don't have any shape or color. It all happens when it gets processed through Malchus, that that a shape and color happens, and that shape and color gets imprinted on the nivraim, on the creations that come from the midas, right? And vice versa. So just like Malchus processes the midas to take on shape and color and make creations that have their shapes and colors. So also, if you look through Malchus as a lens, that's what the Nevi'im do. They use Malchus as a lens. Look at the midas. The midas appear through the lens of Malchus, like the shapes and colors. They appear that are manifest in when they get processed through the Malchus. So it's like Malchus is a two-way portal. Things coming. The midas coming through the Malchus it's in the Malchus that shape and color is attained, and that becomes shape and color that those midas, imprint on the nivra that's made as a result of them interacting with the Malchus. But it's the Malchus that gives the shape and the color, and vice versa. If you look through Malchus as a lens at the midas appear in the shapes and colors through that lens, the way they appear when they themselves pass through that lens. All right, so Malchus is that's the source of all the yuknin, of all shapes, which includes all characters, all colors. All right, hey achron, which is the final hey of the Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? That means okay. So you have he just gave you. So any organ has without getting into all the the nitty gritty, but he gave you the general gist that every organ is made up of 4 elements that are connected to Yud Kei Vav Kei, or also every organ is made up of bone, flesh, sinew, and skin, which are also connected Yud Kei Vav Kei. Right, the skin per se is connected the final hay. Right. Vein Shimatze Rachel Bris Bar Bo Frachabrahim in the Parshas Bo El Paro. And I'll tell you another way, from other Zars, of how you could see Yud Kei Vav Kei in all the creatures. And is the Rayamimna who say Rayamimna is a part of the Zor that was said because of the inspiration of Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama, and it generally starts off with Tamei Mitzvah, it joins over there. Says Rayamimna in Parshas Bo, Zelashon, this is what it says over there. Kol Cheva, De'inun, Chayas, HaKadosh, all these heavenly animals, which are what we mean by the Chayas HaKadosh, they are called by the letters of the holy name. Although the Chsiv, it is what the pasuk says. Nikra b'shmi, everything that's called by my name. To my honor, I created it. Vav kol breius bariu bahon, and all other creations were created through them. Blessed be the Lord Rashim Bahai Shema, begin Lishtamot Lamanda Borile. There's not a single creation that was not created with this divine name in order to make known within creation. As where God's signature is everywhere. So you should know, if you take a penetrating look, you'll always see the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Right. Right. Va'iu Yud Yukna the Reishis the Kobrin. So Yud, from the letter Yud of Yud Kei Vav Kei comes the head of any creature. Anything that would be called its head, physically or philosophically. Hey, Hadukna the Chamcha Etzbon, the Amin of a Chamcha Smola. Right, so now the hey, which is Gematria 5, that's the fiveness that we find. 5 fingers on the right hand, 5 fingers on the left hand, right? So that's where the fiveness that we find. Of course, the real Ikar Tzalma Elokim is the Adam. So you should really look for this first and foremost in the Tzuras Adam, but you could find hints of this in anything that exists. All right, but just giving an example from the Adam, so the Yud, the Hey, the Yud is the head. The Hey gives the fiveness, the 5 fingers on each hand, the 5 toes on each foot. Vav Dukna Gufna. Right, the Vav is connected to the body itself, the central body, which if you're in good shape, not, whatever, good shape, looks like a Vav, as opposed to looking like a Samach. Okay, or a Mem Sofit. All right, so if you're in good shape, you look like a Vav, the Guf itself looks like a Vav, Dukna Gufna, begin da, right, and because of this, who can you compare me to, and I should become equal to, and I'll come out equal to Yomar Kadosh, which says he who is beyond, right? Let's go Bria Dashva Kavasi, right? Because there's no Bria that's equal to me, says Hashem. Because even though I created them, everything is in my name is encoded in each and every one, that you'll see allusions to the Oisius, the Arba Oisius Hashem, and everything I created. But even that surah, which may be my name, that doesn't define me. That doesn't define me. I'm not defined by my name. By us, things are, names should be definitive. I notice what's going on. And I had this argument with a relative of mine, I'm embarrassed to say, said, language is descriptive. It's descriptive. It's not definitive. It's descriptive. So if a boy, God forbid, gets his beitzim cut off, takes away his bris kodesh, you could call him a girl. Call him a girl because language is descriptive. And I said, no, language is definitive. Language is only descriptive when it comes to Hashem. His name is only a description of what he does. It's not a definition of what he is. But we, the Nivroim, the name is our definition. Yehi or, Vayhi or, by us, our names are definitive. Our Hebrew names, by how our individual names somehow all hook into the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. That is our reality. So by us, the names are definitive. By God, his name is only descriptive of what he does. That's what it's saying. Even though everything is made with my divine name, I'm bigger than my divine name. My divine name doesn't define me, but everything else is defined by the name, and language should be definitive. It's the liberals trying to erode all truth by saying language doesn't have to define anything. Language can be descriptive. It's just to erode all boundaries and all Seder. Language should be definitive, and you should only use language in a definitive way, not in an approximate way. And then the world will be a better place, and things should really mean what you say what you mean, and act accordingly. Right? Let it all be definitive. As Akash says, I'm not meshubah to the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. I invented that for the purpose of being Borei Umanik, but I'm bigger than that. So I'm still not shaveh. So even though my name is everywhere, I'm bigger than my name, right? But what he wants to point is that he wanted to point that the name Yud Kei Vav Kei and somehow, some way, is imprinted everywhere. However, first before what the point that I want is not how Ribosh is beyond all that. It's beyond his name. That's the message of the Navi. But what I want for our purposes, because this divine name is our whole reality. God is bigger than it, right? But it's our whole reality. So it's before that all the creations are sealed with the seal of God's name. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Lahoros to show Sheborech Alem, to show the reason why you should be able to find Yud Kei Vav Kei and everything, to show that there's one creator for everything. V'Moshe Bahem, and he is the one who reigns them. And like that Zohar says, since he is boss, right? He can easily change us. He could wipe us away or totally refashion us, right? So the name Yud Kei Vav Kei is, doesn't give us a steadfast existence that God can't change, a steadfast existence that only God himself could change, and boy, can he change it if he just wants to. So he rules. He created us. He sustains us. His fingerprints, for lack of a better word, are everywhere. The fingerprints in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei are everywhere, but he is king, right? Which means this could all change or cease to exist on a dime. Lefi Ratzonai, right? You can just change it, as he sees fit. All right. Let's just keep all these points in mind, because then he's going to go back to going through all those three psukim of Baruch Hashem Malachav, that open up Baruch Hashem Malachav. But we will continue with that in our next session, because we want to do it all in one shot. But hold these principles in mind. And in our next session, we will now go back to how we go through all these psukim Baruch Hashem Malachav and make sense out of it based on the principles he just taught us. Besuras Tovos.